Once upon a time, Halloween wasn't about flashing lead costumes or mountains of candy from superstores. It was simpler, cozier, and maybe just a little spookier. From homemade costumes stitched together by parents to pillowcases filled with popcorn balls and caramel apples. Tonight, the Rewind Vault takes you on a nostalgic journey through 40 years of Halloween history. From the family-friendly 1950s to the pop culture explosion of the 1980s. If you love time traveling through forgotten eras, subscribe now, and let's relive the Halloweens that shaped generations. 1. The 1950s. Homemade magic and neighborhood spirit. Halloween in the 1950s was pure Americana. No plastic decorations, no store-bought inflatables, just homemade fun and community togetherness. Classrooms came alive with black paper cats, orange pumpkins, and smiling witches cut from construction paper. Every school had its own Halloween parade, where kids proudly marched in handmade costumes. Ghosts made from old sheets, cowboys in plaid shirts, and princesses in repurposed Sunday dresses. At home, families carved pumpkins by hand, roasting the seeds afterward while the smell of autumn filled the kitchen. Decorations were simple crepe streamers, paper lanterns, and accordion-style pumpkins. And when night fell, kids took to the streets unsupervised, armed with pillowcases and courage. Treats weren't wrapped in plastic. They were homemade delights like popcorn balls, fudge squares, and caramel apples. It was a time of innocence, imagination, and small-town warmth, a kind of Halloween we may never see again. 2. The 1960s. When pop culture met the pumpkin. As the 1960s dawned, Halloween began to shift from homemade to mass-made. A little company called Ben Cooper, Inc. changed everything with its line of colorful boxed costumes, plastic masks and vinyl suits that let kids transform into superheroes, TV stars, or monsters overnight. They were hot, sweaty, and nearly impossible to breathe in. But for a few precious hours, you were Batman, Cinderella, or the creature from the Black Lagoon. Radio stations blared Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett, and suddenly Halloween had its own soundtrack. Meanwhile, in 1969, Disneyland opened the Haunted Mansion, setting a new standard for spooky entertainment that would ripple through decades of haunted houses to come. The 60s made Halloween louder, bolder, and more commercial, but it still kept its homemade heart. 3. The 1970s. Fear, film, and the rise of the urban legend. The 1970s brought darker shadows to Halloween. Hollywood's horror boom, The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween turned once silly monsters into nightmares that felt all too real. Trick-or-treating was still a cherished ritual, but something new crept into the night. Fear. Rumors spread about poisoned candy and razor blades hidden in apples. Though most of it was myth, parents grew cautious. Gone were the days of homemade cookies. Now, only sealed, factory-wrapped candies were trusted. At the same time, costume culture exploded. With Star Wars and other blockbuster hits, kids swapped ghost sheets for Darth Vader helmets and Princess Leia buns. Ben Cooper kept up with the times, churning out character costumes from every movie and show imaginable. Halloween had become both darker and bigger. No longer just a neighborhood holiday, but a cultural event with a touch of terror. 4. The 1980s. Pop culture takes over. By the 1980s, Halloween was pure spectacle. It was the decade of excess bright colors, bigger candy bags, and characters that ruled the world. Kids dressed up as Ghostbusters, E.T., He-Man, and Madonna. Pop stars, movie heroes, and cartoon icons flooded the streets every October 31st. Store aisles overflowed with costumes, masks, and candy of every kind. And then came McDonald's Halloween pails, those smiling orange buckets that became the ultimate trick-or-treat accessory. Suddenly, every kid had one, trading in pillowcases for plastic pumpkins with happy faces. Halloween parties became grander too, filled with fog machines, strobe lights, and scary soundtracks. Even TV shows got in on the fun, with Halloween specials becoming a yearly tradition. Sure, it was commercialized, but it was magical, colorful, and unforgettable. It was the Halloween of pop culture dreams. 5. What Halloween lost and what it gained. By the end of the 1980s, Halloween had evolved from homemade charm to full-blown industry. Gone were the paper decorations and hand-sewn costumes. In their place stood plastic pumpkins and mass-produced masks. But something beautiful remained: the thrill of dressing up, the laughter echoing down darkened streets, and the excitement of that one night when the ordinary became extraordinary. Halloween has always been a mirror of its times. From the family values of the 50s to the pop madness of the 80s, each era added something special to the tradition. And no matter how much it changes, one thing never will: that feeling of crisp October air, the rustle of candy wrappers, and the spark of imagination that keeps the spirit of Halloween alive. So, if you could step back in time, which Halloween would you choose? The homemade magic of the 50s, the groovy masks of the 60s, the spooky cinema of the 70s, or the neon fun of the 80s? Tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear your favorite Halloween memory. And before you go, hit like, subscribe to the Rewind Vault, and ring the bell for more nostalgic deep dives. Because here, every memory is a doorway back in time.